One fiery fact, very fire-type Pokemon, ranging from Ho not being a fire type, to Monferno causing a continuity error, to even Gigantamax Coalossal having a pathetic body temperature. Let's do this. Charmander. Charmander originally had a spike on his back, where you can see it in his original Sugimori artwork, and in his Pokemon Red and Green sprites. Charmeleon. Apparently, when Charmeleon gets excited, it may blow bluish-white flames, which could have been the inspiration for Mega Charizard X, since I gotta imagine you gotta get pretty excited to Mega Evolve. Charizard. Charizard was the first Pokemon ever revealed, since it appeared in the very beginning of the first Japanese Pokemon commercial. It was also the very first Pokemon shown in the anime, since in the Japanese opening you can see Charizard before all the rest of the Pokemon. So it's safe to say that Charizard was destined to be popular. Mega Charizard X. Mega Charizard X is probably canonically stronger than his Y variant, simply due to his Dextergy that states that his body turns black and creates a blue flame due to his overwhelming power, which is something that doesn't happen to Mega Charizard Y. Mega Charizard Y. Mega Charizard's Y's shiny form is purple, just like the original shiny Charizard from Generation 2, back when the Game Boy couldn't produce his proper black variant. Gigantamax Charizard. When Gigantamax Charizard uses his signature move G-Max Wildfire, it literally launches its wings at its opponent, as you can see in this anime clip right here. Imagine that, a wingless Charizard. Maybe that's why I didn't learn any flying type moves in Generation 1. Vulpix. Vulpix was originally going to have his own pre-evolution called Mekon, which was shown in the 1997 Gold and Silver Space Roll demo, but it was ultimately scrapped, along with a lot of other Pokemon. Ninetales. There's an error card in the training card game known as No Damage Ninetales, where the damage counter for Ninetales' Fire Blast attack is completely missing, making it essentially do no damage. I wonder how this would work in an official game. Could this be the worst Pokemon card ever printed? Growlithe. There was a weird glitch in the Generation 1 games where Growlithe could act as a Thunderstone, since they share the same in-game hex number. So essentially, you can have a Growlithe on the field and then swap to a Pikachu and then level it up and then would evolve into a Raichu, having Growlithe act as a Thunderstone. Hisuian Growlithe. Hisuian Growlithe may have been hinted in Growlithe's Ultramoon Dex entry, where it states that it had lived alongside humans since ages ago, and that his bones have been found in excavations of ruins from the Stone Age, with Stone Age being the hint for its rock typing. And before we continue, this video is sponsored by AFK Journey. Wait, did you say AFK? I love to AFK. I AFK when I cook, I AFK when I watch TV, I even AFK when I poop. That's great to know, I didn't even know aliens pooped. But anyways, I'm also a big fan of idle games, and if you are too, AFK Journey is just for you. Because AFK Journey is not just an idle game, it's an ethereal fantasy RPG game with unique visuals, intricate gameplay mechanics, and has PC-compatible side-scrolling elements to add a new dimension to the gameplay. Yeah, look at me, I'm doing an elite challenge taking down this final boss of the Holy Temple Cave. Boom! That looks like a lot of fun. But yeah, in this game, you embark on a fantasy quest as Merlin, where you gather heroes across 6 factions and formulate winning tactics with different teams, where you can master the battlefield and conquer each challenge with strategy and precision. And each map brings something new to the game, where you can solve fun puzzles, meet interesting NPCs, and assemble heroes all with one-handed gameplay. Oh, are you talking about heroes now? Because this is Antandra, my tank. She's kind of a big deal because check this out. Boom! This is her ultimate shield assault, where she taunts enemies and hits them for massive damage. Yo, you're really getting me into this game, man. But yeah, if you want to play AFK Journey today, use my CD key AFK Journey 88 or my link down below in the description to redeem 100 diamonds and nearly 20,000 golden coins. This game is available on iOS, Google Play Store, and on the PC on the official AFK Journey website. And best of all, it is free to play. And if you download right now, you'll get over 40 heroes for free and over 200 free pulls by progressing through the game. So I definitely recommend it, and shout out to AFK Journey for sponsoring this video. Now back to the facts. Arcanine. The move Extreme Speed was originally Arcanine's signature move, which is a pretty legendary move for this quote-unquote legendary Pokemon. Hisuian Arcanine. The noble Hisuian Arcanine in Legends Arceus was said to have evolved without a Firestone, which might be the first and only time this has ever happened in Pokemon. Ponyta. There has only been one event Ponyta distributed in the history of Pokemon, with one being this Ponyta from Generation 2 where it came with the move Low Kick, which ended up being a move that I could learn from the Generation 4 games and onward. Rapidash. Rapidash is the chairman's favorite Pokemon from the Kanto Pokemon fan club, even to the point where he somehow taught his Rapidash Payday in the Adventures manga, which is a move that it cannot learn. Alolan Marowak. Technically, when you have an Alolan Marowak use a move like Flare Blitz, it would basically be the same as saying, Marowak, use your mom, since his flames are made of his mother's spirit. Magmar. As you probably know, Magmar's Japanese name is Boober, but it's not based on what you think it is, because it is actually based on a bird species called the booby bird. So Magmar is basically a bird confirmed. But at the same time, I could totally see it being based on the other thing, because just look at his forehead. Paldean Tauros. The blazed breed of Paldean Tauros is probably based on the very questionable practice of setting a bull's horns on fire when bullfighting, which makes me wonder what the Aqua breed is based on. Flareon. Flareon is one of 2 Pokemon that we've ever seen evolving in live action, where it evolved from Eevee in the Detective Pikachu movie, with the other Pokemon being Magikarp evolving into a Gyarados. Moltres. There's a trainer in the Cinnabar City gym that states that Moltres is the reason why Blaine became a fire-type expert, since apparently while Blaine was lost at a treacherous freezing mountain range, a Moltres guided him to safety, which is pretty cool. Cyndaquil. This is the dex image for Cyndaquil's Blueberry dex entry, which is probably a reference to Ash's Cyndaquil battling a trainer Skarmory in the anime. Quilava. The person who helped name a lot of English Generation 2 Pokemon, Jeff Callis, stated that Nintendo wanted a Pokemon for every letter of the alphabet, which is why Quilava's name is Quilava. And I guess for Xatu for the letter X as well, and Yama for the letter Y too. Typhlosion. Apparently Typhlosion has a secret devastating move that causes large explosions when it rubs its fur together, which might be its eruption move or a move that we've never seen before. Either way, I can only imagine just petting a Typhlosion and then exploding. That's some dynamite fur there. Hisuian Typhlosion. Hisuian Typhlosion's density states that it has 108 ghostly flames, and that it guides these spirits to the afterlife, which could be a parallel to Spiritu's 108 evil spirits, where they are trapped in purgatory in the Odd Keystone. So basically, Hisuian Typhlosion is an angel, while Spiritomb is a demon. Slugma. Slugma is the weakest fire-type Pokemon, having the lowest base stat total of 250. I guess it is just a pile of lava. Macargo. Macargo can somehow breed with Gastrodon, even though both of Gastrodon's typings are 4 times effective against it. And what's even more disturbing is that this is how you breed a Slugma with the move Memento, which is a self-knockout move. So I guess if you really want this move on a Slugma, then you gotta sacrifice a Macargo. Houndour. There are only 5 Pokemon games where you can catch a Houndour before the in-game credits, with the games being Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. All of the other games require you to beat the game first, so this is a pretty exclusive Pokemon. Houndoom. Houndoom is the only non-legendary or mythical Pokemon in the main series games to have an exclusive battle theme, with a theme residing in the beginning of Scarlet and Violet. And fun fact, in my hardest battles video, I ranked this Houndoom as the hardest battle in any Pokemon game, since you are literally scripted to lose. Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom's claws are red because of the extreme heat it generates in his body. So basically, his body is so hot that it's literally bleeding out of his nails. That must be pretty painful. Magby. In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Magby will say things like, "Be careful, I dribble fire from my nose and mouth," which is really cute and all, but also brings up the question, isn't his nose and mouth the same thing? Because just look at it, it has like a nose-mouth thing. Entei. Entei's dex entry states that an Entei is born every time a new volcano appears. So with that logic, there are probably around 1500 Entei in the Pokemon world, since that's how many active volcanoes there currently are. Ho-Oh. In the Pokemon Gold and Silver Space World demo, Ho-Oh was not a fire type, but a pure flying type. So technically, this might have been the first primary flying type Pokemon, which is really weird to think about. Torchic. There's a Pokemon manga that has Torchic as the main character, with the manga being Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Genji's Rescue Team, where the main character Genji was transformed into a Torchic. Combusken. Combusken's transition to the 3D games absolutely destroyed his shiny form, since it practically looks identical to its normal form. Like, can you see a difference? But finally in Scarlet and Violet, it was changed back to its original Blaziken coloring, which looks really nice. Blaziken. There is a very messed up episode in the anime where in eating contest Blaziken is tasked to eat fried Torchic, or some kind of fried food that looks like Torchic. And Blaziken is so distraught by this that it literally forfeits the competition. And I don't blame it. Mega Blaziken. Mega Blaziken's ears are probably inspired by the pre-alpha version of Torchic. Numel. Numel is said to have magma coursing through his body like blood, and if it hardens, its body will become heavy and slow, which sounds like a very painful way to go out. Camerupt. Camerupt's Emerald Density states that the volcanoes on his back erupt every 10 years. However, Sapphire Density states that they erupt every time it gets angry. So either one of these Pokédex entries are wrong, or Camerupt is the chillest Pokemon ever, getting only angry once every 10 years. Mega Camerupt. The official site for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire states that Mega Camerupt's volcanoes constantly erupt to intimidate its foes. So by the last fact's logic, this means that Mega Camerupt is always angry, kinda like the Hulk. Torkoal. Torkoal has been mistakenly depicted as a fighting type in the trading card game not once, but twice, even though it's a pure fire type, and fire type exists in the game. Castform Sunnyform. Castform is said to be made up of molecules that are almost exactly like water, but its Sunnyform density states that his skin is dry in this form. So basically it's made up of gas, because dry water is not a thing. Wait a minute. Wow, dry water is a thing. Okay, I guess it does make sense then. Primal Groudon. The reason why Primal Groudon is heavily associated with the Omega symbol is because Omega is the last letter of the Greek alphabet, which represents the end, meaning that Primal Groudon is supposed to be the bringer of the apocalypse, since it causes tectonic activity, volcanic eruptions, and rapid climate change. Chimchar. Chimchar has the lowest HP out of all the Sinnoh starters, which makes it possible for it to faint in the Starly battle, which hilariously causes a soft lock in the game. And for more info, check my 15 hilarious soft locks video here. Monferno. Flint's Monferno in the anime has a continuity error, since in one flashback it was seen as a Monferno when Flint was a child, but in another flashback it was shown as a Chimchar while Flint was already an adult. So are these two timelines, or what's going on here? Infernape. Infernape has never been able to learn the move Inferno. Inferno, which makes no sense. Magmortar. The only way to obtain a Magmortar in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl was to catch a Magby holding a Magmarizer, which required Pokemon Leaf Green in the dual slot mode, which made this Pokemon very hard to obtain. Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat is still the only electric fire type Pokemon. Heatran. The event Heatran that you could obtain from Pokemon Rangers Guardian Signs completely changed the entire VGC meta in 2012. And it all boiled down to the fact that I knew the move Eruption, a move that I should already know. And if you want to know more, watch my 10 Pokemon that changed the game video right here. Victini. Victini's signature move, V-Create, is the most powerful fire-type move of all time. And if you pair it with the Z move Inferno Overdrive, it becomes the most powerful Z move of all time. Tepig. Tepig is the only base starter Pokemon to have his own signature move, with his move being Heat Crash. Pignite. Before Pignite's name was revealed, fans actually referred to it as Pignite, unironically predicting its name. They also call Snivy Smugleaf and Oshawott Water. Emboar. As you probably know, Emboar is a dex entry that states that it can throw a fire punch by setting his fist on fire with his fiery chin, when at that time it couldn't even learn the move Fire Punch. But Emboar strikes again in Pokemon Y, because it states that it mastered fast and powerful fighting type moves, when it can't even learn the move Mach Punch. Pansear. Pansear is apparently the leader of the elemental monkeys. Well, at least in Pokepark 2 it is. Simisear. Simisear was ranked dead last in the 2016 Japanese Pokemon election poll, meaning that it was voted as the least popular Pokemon at the time. But since then, it has gotten a lot more love, like its own event and Pokemon card. But rest in peace to the second and third last Pokemon. I actually like Woobat. Darumaka. Darumaka's Dextergy states that people used to put his poop in their clothing to keep themselves warm, which is pretty disgusting. Darmanitan. Darmanitan in Zen mode represents all the three wise monkeys' proverbs, with his eyes being blank for see no evil, its hands over his ears for hear no evil, and his closed mouth for speak no evil. And if you didn't know, the three elemental monkeys represent these proverbs too. So maybe Darmanitan is the true trio master of these monkeys. Galarian Darmanitan in Zen mode. Galarian Darmanitan in Zen mode is the fastest fire-type Pokemon, which is pretty odd and funny. Litwick. Litwick's Dextergy states that his flame is usually out, but is lit when it sucks the life force from people and Pokemon around it. And given that we rarely see this Pokemon without his flame lit, means that it's probably constantly sucking our life force, which is creepy. Lampit. The Unova region has its own horoscope, with Lampit representing Libra for October. And if you're wondering, the others are Sawsbuck for January, Simipour for February, Alomomola for March, Whimsicott for April, Bufflant for May, Clink for June, Crustle for July, Bravery for August, Gothorita for September, Scolipede for November, and Fracture for December. Let me know which Pokemon you are in the comments down below. Chandelure. Chandelure is a playable fighter Pokemon in Pokken Tournament, which has got to be one of the most random Pokemon on that roster. I guess it's pretty popular in Japan or something. Heatmore. Heatmore is the only natural source for the item Flame Orb. Since in Black and White 2, they have a 1% chance of holding the item, so maybe these Pokemon produce them. Larvesta. Larvesta can fly by shooting fire out of his horns, as you can see right here. Volcarona. Volcarona's room in the Relic Castle is one of only 4 places in Pokemon where the Dust Ball doesn't work, with the other places being the Strange House, New Moon Island, and During the Darkest Day in Sword and Shield. Reshiram. Reshiram's design might have been inspired by the Blue Eyes White Dragon card in Yu-Gi-Oh!, while Zekrom might have been inspired by the Red Eyes Black Dragon card, which is something I've never noticed before. Fennekin. Fennekin is the weakest starter Pokemon, having a base stat total of 307. Braixen. Braixen was so popular that it became his own fighter in Pokken Tournament, even over its evolution Delphox, and some of his moves are directly taken from Amy Sorrell's moveset from the Soul Calibur series, which is pretty cool. Delphox. Apparently in the past, people used to use the Scorch Marks of Delphox leaves for divination, a practice of seeing into the future and reading fortunes, according to a Scarlet Dexentry at least. Fletchinder. Right before the end credits of Pokemon X and Y, there's a Fletchling doing the loop-de-loop towards the screen. And what's cool about this is that in the Pokemon Legends ZA trailer, we see a Fletchinder doing the exact same thing, meaning after 10 years, this Fletchling has finally evolved. Talonflame. Talonflame was so powerful in X and Y that it got nerfed in the next generation, making it so that his Gale Wing ability would only activate at full health. And if you didn't know, Gale Wings is an ability that gives all flying type moves priority. So you can only imagine how broken this was with moves like Brave Bird. Litleo. There's a meteor shower in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire named after Litleo, named the Litleo Nids. Pyroar. In the Indigo Disc DLC for Scarlet and Violet, there's a Pyroar that always stands on the top of this rocky formation, which suspiciously looks like the Pride Rock from the Lion King, so this is definitely a reference to that. Volcanion. Apparently, Volcanion has a power to blow away a literal mountain with the internal steam on its back, which is pretty crazy. Litten. This Ash's Litten promo card could very well be the last time we see Ash in the trading card game, since he has now been retired from the series. Torracat. If you've never noticed, Torracat has a small flame sack under his chin, and it uses this to produce the fire for its attacks. And it even rings like a bell. Incineroar. If you pet Incineroar's belt in Pokemon Refresh, the hand that is shown will be briefly burned. Oh, also Incineroar can't learn Incinerate. I just had to throw that in there. Oricorio Bale. Oricorio in Bale form can be found on Ula Ula Island in the Alola region. And if you didn't know, Ula Ula means red in Hawaiian. Salandit. Salandit's Dysenergy states that it has a rough time battling Spinda because it normally uses its gas to send opponents reeling. But since Spinda is already reeling in its own world, this gas has no real effect on it. Salazzle. Salazzle is probably the most recent case of a non-dragon type Pokemon that should have been a dragon type, because not only does it learn the move Dragon Cheer, a move that is mostly learned by other dragons, but it is also based on the Mo-O dragon, a dragon in Hawaiian folklore that shapeshifts and devours men. Turtonator. Turtonator's shell is based on a cartoony explosion, with the red and yellow markings being the base of the explosion, and the black spikes being the debris scattered by the explosion. Come to think of it, Turtonator does look very cartoony, along with its signature trainer Ryuki. Blacephalon. Blacephalon apparently moves around by slithering, which is very creepy, and this could even be inspired by the dust enemy from Kingdom Hearts, which do the same thing. Scorbunny. Crazy enough, Scorbunny can learn the move Blaze Kick, which used to be a pretty formidable move back in my day. Not even Torchic can learn this. Raboot. This Raboot, playing with a soccer ball in the Poketoon anime, confirms that soccer exists in the Pokemon world. Cinderace. Out of all the Pokemon belonging to Ash's companions, Go Cinderace battled the most legendary Pokemon, finding 11 of them, with the Pokemon being Zapdos, Eternatus, Mewtwo, Dialga, Palkia, Heatran, Articuno, Regieleki, Regidrago, Mew, and Lugia, which is honestly a pretty impressive resume. Gigantamax Cinderace. Gigantamax Cinderace's Fireball is alive, since its Dysenergy states that it's infused with Cinderace's fighting spirit. And come to think of it, it looks pretty dang similar to Skellydich's Fire Spirit as well. I wonder if this is a common occurrence with Fire-type Pokemon. Also goes to show just how powerful Cinderace is. Carcool. In Pokemon Horizons, Carcool is used as a fire source for the brave Olivine, the ship that belongs to the protagonist's team. Coalossal. Coalossal is without a doubt the best Pokemon to have for hatching eggs, since all three of its abilities causes eggs to hatch faster, with the abilities being Steam Engine, Flame Body, and Flash Fire. Gigantamax Coalossal. For being a giant furnace, Gigantamax Coalossal's internal temperature is pretty pathetic, only reaching up to 3600 degrees Fahrenheit, which to put in context is about as hot as a Flareon, a little cat Pokemon. Sizzlipede. Sizzlipede has interesting relationships with other bug-type Pokemon, since it shares a common ancestor with Scorpide and has rivalry with Venipede. Centiskorch. Kaboo's Centiskorch's Sword and Shield is illegal, because it's level 27, when Sizzlipede doesn't evolve until level 28. Gigantamax Centiskorch. Gigantamax Centiskorch is 246 feet tall, which at that height is still not the tallest Pokemon, since Eternamax Eternatus is 328 feet tall, but it is still the second tallest Pokemon that exists. Fuecoco. Fuecoco broke the popular Zodiac theory for the fire-type starters, because as a crocodile, it doesn't fit any of the Zodiac animals. And if you were curious, Charmander was the dragon, Cyndaquil was apparently the rat, Torchic was the rooster, Chimchar was the monkey, Tepig was the pig, Fennekin was the dog, Linton was the tiger, and Scorbunny was the rabbit, which leaves the snake, horse, ox, and ram, and Fuecoco is definitely not any of those. Crocolore. The official Scarlet and Violet website states that Crocolore uses its fiery egg on its head as part of a move, but I'm not sure which move because no move with the egg has ever been shown. So basically, the site is a liar! Skellydirge. Skellydirge's design is based on the bird's eye view of a stadium for a concert, which is why Skellydirge is known to sing and is a flame spirit bird. Charcadet. Charcadet is apparently burnt charcoal that came to life, which technically means that this Pokemon has been around since Generation 2, since that's the gen where the item charcoal was introduced. Armarouge. Armarouge is the only Pokemon that can learn the move Expanding Force by level up, which is pretty cool because this move was originally a tutor move in Sword and Shield. So I wonder if this tutor came from the Paldea region and owns an Armarouge. Ceruledge. Ceruledge's Japanese name is Soul Blades, which sounds pretty awesome. Skullvillain. Skullvillain is probably the best Pokemon that has the ability Chlorophyll. Since while in the sun, it not only gets a speed boost by this ability, but the sun itself also boosts fire type attacks. And along with that, it doesn't have the drawback of being weak to boosted fire type moves in the sun as well. Iron Moth. Iron Moth's wings are not actually orange, because if you have one fall asleep, the lights of his wings turn off and become very black, because like it's a robot. Chiyu. Chiyu's true form are the beads forming in its eyes, and apparently wars have been fought to claim these powerful beads, which is kind of crazy to think about. Ogerpon in Heartflame Mass Form. Ogerpon in Heartflame Mass Form is by far the most violent variant, since instead of whipping his vines, it will stab his opponent, so it basically becomes Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And finally, we have Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire is apparently a fossil Pokemon, according to his Violet Dex entry. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, watch my one scary fact for every ghost type Pokemon video right here, and click that subscribe button. And thanks for 1 million, by the way.